Well, not only were we really scared, but I was pretty angry as well.
You know, you wish it would happen to you, not your kids. And it's also scary to think about when they tell you how long treatment's going to be, and how are we going to take care of our other child, how are we going to pay the bills.
Our world was shattered.
Braden was born after we'd been married about 4 years, and was an easy baby. At the end of the first year, a switch flipped.
And things got a little more difficult. Braden was very strong-willed at an early age.
Very driven. He actually could sing before he could talk.
He's always been musical and artistic from the very beginning. God had gifted him in those areas.
He was ready for the next thing, but he was still in elementary, and we saw that GSM included 6th grade, and he was going into 6th grade. He auditioned for the worship team, and that just really got him plugged into GSM.
Loved it from the beginning.
He was able to make relationships.
You know, Braden's always been one that just, he did his own thing, and we appreciated that about him. You know, what made him a difficult child helped to make him have stronger character and faith as a middle school student.
I think at the same time, though, his strong will, you know, it could have gone another direction if we hadn't had the right group of people to help us steer him, and that's really what GSM was for him. They just were able to make his faith instead of our faith that we raised him in, and it became more personal for him. And he started talking about wanting to go into ministry.
The results of the MRI showed that he had a tumor in his upper sinus area, and that was kind of pushing on things and causing the pain. Yeah, immediately after the biopsy, he knew that it was cancer, and he came out and told us, and, you know, our world was shattered at that point.
At the beginning, the doctor told me that this treatment that you're having, it's going to be hard, and it's going to be a lot harder than other people you might know that have cancer. You're going to have the radiation and the chemotherapy. And when I heard that, I sort of made a commitment to myself and to God that I was going to walk with Christ as I always had throughout my life and throughout this, and that God was going to get me through it.
So he was about 6 feet tall and about 120 pounds. He became really frail and weak because he couldn't eat, and every time he tried to eat, even with the G-tube, it would make him nauseated and he would throw it up. And for a couple months, we were living our lives at the hospital.
His mouth was in the radiation field, which damaged all of the mucous membranes in his mouth, basically created his mouth was like a huge canker sore.
And then the third time that I had the mouth sores, my tongue swelled up, and it got so big that it came out of my mouth on this side and this side, and it was at the top, and I couldn't breathe, I couldn't talk, even the air hurt on it, and I was just sitting in the hospital in pain. And this time I was sort of at a breaking point that I just kind of cried out to God in anger and kind of doubt, and I just said, why am I the one sitting here when all my friends are at school? God, I said, take this pain away, take me out of this place that I'm in now, it's just horrible. And when I was sitting in that chair, I was kind of half awake, half asleep, and my grandpa had been there watching me, and I thought that he was in the room, and I thought that he was holding my hand, because I could definitely feel somebody holding my hand. But then I fell into a deep sleep, and then I woke up and I asked him, Grandpa, were you holding my hand? And he said, no, I was going to get lunch. And it turns out I was in the room alone, but I could feel somebody holding my hand. The pain was gone, the swelling was back down to its normal size, and God had totally answered my prayer. GSM has definitely been one of the biggest supports throughout this process. I remember the week right before radiation, where I was going to be gone for a long time, I decided to go with my dad. And when I got there, everybody knew what was going on. And John Kime called me up about halfway through his sermon, and he prayed for me, and he had everybody come down. That was a great experience, just being able to have all my friends around me and their support and prayer.
We knew that he was well loved and well liked in the youth group, but to see 150 kids surrounding him and praying with him, it was pretty powerful.
GSM, they've constantly sent me letters and emails and texts asking me how I've been doing.
I think we come at it from a different viewpoint than a lot of parents because of the life-threatening situation that Braden has faced, and knowing that I didn't really want to consider that tomorrow is never a guarantee, and there's nothing more important than your child's spiritual health and faith, and whatever you can do to help shape that. But at the same time, it has to be their own decision. And so, for us, GSM came along at just the right time. We haven't spent a whole lot of time thinking about when it will be over, because every time we make a plan, it changes.
We've learned to live life one day at a time. Braden's feeling good today, so let's enjoy today.
To other kids that kind of questions God's existence, through the experiences that I've gone through, I've definitely seen that there's God and there's a reality beyond what we can see. Before this experience, I would still call myself a Christian. I read the Bible, I went to church, but after this experience, when I pray, I feel this much stronger connection, almost like I'm FaceTiming somebody, and I kind of see him in my heart. I feel his presence when I talk to him, and he answers back. He always does.